In my professional and personal and civilian career, I have been talking about the issue of correlation versus cause since day one. And it is so critical and so important. And if I say it again, sit with me and sit through it. If you've heard it before, tolerate it. Remind yourself. Call somebody up on the phone and remind them. Tell them how this thing works. There's a difference between correlation and cause. What is causative? What actually makes something happen? What speech, what event, what writing, what music, what poetry causes a person to do this, a particular behavior? This is the issue that apparently is repeated constantly by some of our political opponents, perhaps the antipodal, theoretical opponents of us. We don't know. But in any event, I ask you this. I ask you to listen carefully. And let me explain this again, but make sure you promise me that you will take what I am saying and that you will forward this to someone else, that you will let them know this. This is important. This is critical because we have to teach. We have to be missionaries of sorts. And of course, please like the video. Please subscribe to my channel. I've got all kinds of good stuff. And hit that little bell so you're notified of new contributions and the like. But first, oh yes. First, a word from our sponsor. Money is broken. Everything's getting more expensive. The government's losing control, and the Fed just seems to make things worse. Trying to get decent returns on your savings is driving you nuts. Does this sound familiar? Noble Gold gets it. Completely focused on honesty and education. Their crack team of precious metals experts have helped thousands of worried investors like you to build and preserve wealth through times like these. By giving you direct contact with a single dedicated professional, you get exclusive free access to that help with no hassle or call centers to deal with. Find out why precious metals and IRAs are the answer to inflation and financial contagion. Give the team at Noble Gold a call and join the others who've taken advantage of their offer. They'll guide you through the process and make it easy for you. And this month, they're gifting a stunning 3-ounce silver American Virtue coin with every qualified IRA over $20,000. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. Call 877-646-5347 for more information. That's 877-646-5347. And remember, there is always a risk of loss, and past performance is not indicative of future results. My generation has known nothing but accusations regarding our music, our dancing. We used to dance. I never was a dancer. Cicero said, "No sane man will dance." And I believe that wholeheartedly. But we have been told from the beginning of time that we have musical and artistic influences that affect us negatively. Christmas just around the corner. That we have these things, these influences that make normal kids crazy. That the music inspires drug use. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD, had nothing to do with LSD, but people swore to it. 8 Miles High, right? The Birds. It's about, obviously, some drug trip. It was about a plane or something. People always get the notion of lyrics wrong. They always have. In fact, you might have heard this years ago, that one of the most famous, one of the most favorite wedding songs is Every Breath You Take, right? By the Police. This is about stalking, and so nobody cares about that. They think they understand it, and it seems logical to them that when you say X, why will be the result. During the peace movement of the 60s, when music was, give peace a chance and peace and love and all this stuff, did that result in wars stopping? Ultimately, yes, but not because of the song. Did crime vanish? No. Did stay-in-school programs have an effect? We don't know. We never look at the positive effects of things. We always look at the negative, and especially if it's from somebody who, frankly, has nothing better today. Well, today, but today, there is a new movement, a movement that has gained ferocity and velocity. And it suggests that when there are gun crimes, two things are responsible. Number one is the weapon. And number two is the political ideology which is possessed by that person. The same political ideology that might be possessed by, 200, 300 million Americans who don't use guns in the commission of felonies, and they have guns. So none of this makes sense, but it is a popular belief system that certain beliefs, certain political ideations, certain ideologies will cause something to occur. And therefore, by implication, if you get rid of the gun, somehow we're to make guns invisible, this won't happen. And if you were to eliminate somehow the apology or the ideology, things would go away. Now, let's go back. As a matter of fact, if you could theoretically remove guns and knives from the planet, you will see a concomitant reduction, a drastic reduction in gun and knife crime if they don't exist. But as a practical matter, that can never occur. But yes, if you could snap your fingers, and if we could remove knuckles and sticks and if we could take cars off, make cars just vanish, there will be no drunk driving arrest. This is all true. But that's not going to happen, nor should it. Because when you look at something, and let's talk about the ideology, you ask yourself, what is it that makes someone do something like that? Well, one could say mental illness, and I say to you, not necessarily. We use the word mental illness sometimes almost as a substitute for, how do I say this? Kind of a substitute for just bad stuff. You got to be crazy to do that. I submit, no, not really. How about this? You've got to be evil. That's one of my favorites. I don't even know what that means, evil. It's demonic. It's satanic. We love to point to something. The hardest thing for people to realize, the hardest thing, is that since time immemorial, a fraction of the population, and you must remember this, a fraction of the population from time to time will decide on its own that it wants to go out and harm people for no particular reason. Just harm them. To exact this horror on people for no particular reason. It's the most incredible thing in the world. And you see it all the time. You see it and have seen it. I have studied and am fascinated by serial killers. Serial killers, as an example, are the rarest of the rare of the rare. And it has always been said that there are three conditions which a lot of them seem to share and have in common when they were going through their developmental stage. One of them was they were bedwetters. They, that's enuresis versus, by the way, encapresis, which is another story. They lit fires, arsonists and that sort of thing, fires. And also there was a teasing or the torturing of animals, small animals in particular. And they had those three components more often than not. And in fact, it's become almost axiomatic. Now, what's interesting is that there are people who exhibit the very same ideas and ideations and nothing ever happens. They do the same thing. The same thing. It's true. They There are people right now, bedwetters who tease animals, bedwetters who serve arsonist, enuretic, arsonist, animal teasers who were abused, neglected, abandoned, who were the subject of physical and sexual abuse, who were put through the most horrible of conditions. They're not serial killers. You can go into prisons and talk to the top 1% of the worst of the worst of the worst. People who are socio and psychopathic. People have no remorse, no feelings of empathy or anything. They've never killed. You can't find correlation and cause anywhere. You will find similarities, but not cause. That is correlation. 98% of all people who are committing, let's say, mass murder enjoy cartoons or were breastfed or went to school. Or you can't do this. They're all men. And there are people who will tell you sometimes, oh, no, you don't understand this. I did this terrible thing because I read the Bible, or I listened to Rush Limbaugh, or best of. But the point is, they will tell you, oh, no. They'll have a MAGA flag, an American flag. They'll have an LGBTQ plus flag. They'll use. We've had people who've committed terrorism under the name of Islam. And I would say, no, this is, and people in this country would say, this is a religion of terror, always pointing to the cause. Completely, surgically removing the individual responsibility of the person. This has got to stop. Because if you want to kill freedom of expression and the freedom of the ability and the right to express things that are contrary and that are harmful to current political regimes, what you do is you go after particular subject matters of speech. This has got to stop. Don't fall prey. I'm going to be talking about this again. And you're going to be listening to this again. And you're going to be liking this video. And you're going to be subscribing. And you're going to be sending it to somebody else. And moreover, you're going to be talking and having conversations with friends and with colleagues about this. You're going to be doing this. And now, you know what you're going to be doing right now? You're going to comment as you see fit.